Well, hello everybody, and welcome to the Guiding Star channel. I'm so excited today because we have the wonderful Krasi with us to talk mundane astrology and what is happening in the skies, and therefore what's happening in our world right now. Krasi, thank you so much for joining us here on the channel. It's lovely to have you.
Kesenya. We will be speaking also about Australia, remember? Because yes.
That's right. That's right. I get a lot of questions every week because a lot of my viewership is Australian. Can you talk about what's happening in Australia? What's going on right now? But I'd like to talk, about what's going on in Bulgaria as well, and in
Oh,
Europe and the rest of the world. So we'll try and solve all the world's problems together today, Krasi, and see how we go.
yes, thank you, Ksenia. Well, just on time we're talking now because according to this, just to say to people who don't know, we will be combining sidereal and modern astrology. Um, According to the sidereal astrology, which is a little bit different from the modern perspective, Uranus entered sidereal Taurus 2-3 days ago, on the 18th of June. Uranus entered sidereal Taurus, and this is big event, celestial event, very, very important. And since we'll be looking at the world 6 months or 1 year ahead, this will impact not only Europe, America, Australia, just everyone, because Uranus is very important ruler, and he has very special energy, not very well understood. I've been researching Uranus, and I see, so many confusing
Yes.
facts around him. So it's better that we discuss a little bit indeed his energy, because he is now the most important player.
Yes, and one thing you said before we started this session was that you struggle with the idea of Uranus being debilitated in the sign of Taurus, and
Yes.
I'm the same too. I've felt from a tropical perspective anyway, with Uranus, who's in the tropical astrology, been in Taurus for close on 5 to 6 years now, that it really there's certain things that have happened, but I haven't sort of sensed the debilitation factor that everybody loves to talk about. So,
Yes.
like
Me too.
like you said, his rulership, which is Aquarius, squares Taurus. So no, squares
Where's his exaltation
Scorpio.
point?
Yes,
Yes,
his
and also
exaltation.
Taurus, indeed.
That's right. So how can he be exalted in Scorpio when it's squaring his rulership? It doesn't
Yeah,
really make sense.
not even one fact support in my imagination supports this. I think Uranus and the three trans-Saturnian planets, Uranus, Pluto, Neptune, cannot easily be denoted exaltation and fall.
Exactly.
This is really so, I'm sure, because they're beyond that, really, and their hierarchy is such. So the higher you go, when you see the celestial spheres, the higher you go, the hierarchy grows, obviously, so this is the case with Uranus, and from there his importance. Last time with you, I think, again, we spoke a little bit about him, but mythologically, Uranus rules the sky, the cosmos, got Anu of the Babylonians, Uranus of the Romans, and also he is married to Gaia, the earth. And we just spoke with you before the recording that how important it is to connect with nature, because he's married. He cannot live without the earth. But the Greek story is that he was castrated by Saturn. And from there, his unusual nature, really very, very sharp, non-romantic. He's not attaching. He has no attachment to anything. That's why when he enters Taurus, he will make very sharp, sudden changes, and his energies change. I think his energy of revolutionary energy of change is because he was discovered around the French and the American revolutions, 1871 maybe it was. If I'm wrong, people will correct me. And that's why people always explain the change through Uranus. Also, his astronomical figures, you know, he's very declined, extremely declined. And also, from what I understood, he's very cold, very windy, if you want. And he rotates differently from the other planets. Only Venus rotates like him. So he's like saying, no, I'm not going to do like you. It will be
not going to
totally
conform. Exactly.
no.
Well, I heard that like he always shows one face only to the sun, so it's only one side that gets the warmth, and the other side is cold. So there's an extremity to him as well. So
Oh, yes,
a planet of extremes. Yes. So we're looking at a conjunction with Mars and Uranus before very long, I think, as well, which will be interesting times when that occurs. I'm not exactly sure how far away that is. It might only be a couple of weeks, if I'm not mistaken, when they will conjunct together in the sky, and we may be getting some earthquakes or you know, tornadoes and things like that, earth events, because as you said, Uranus is it has a connection to the earth in mythology, and we always see earth events whenever Mars and Uranus come together that are shocking and surprising and even a bit violent. So get ready, people. That's good. That's on the cards for the
yes, I agree,
and
I have the small hope, you know, Kesenya, Jupiter is there. I hope the small hope that Jupiter will soften this energy, but Uranus in Taurus will make, yes, these kinds of, unfortunately, changes. But because of this highly misunderstood, I think, energy of Uranus, we need to, you know, I even read one very interesting article from 1921 when they were describing actually his energy of something really very positive, depending on your understanding of his energy. Because yes, he's revolutionary, yes, he's change, but example, he can manifest very good energy. For example, take horoscopes of pilots or astrologers.
That's
They
right.
would have beautifully placed Uranus, of course. Also, Uranus is ruling the aura. I never thought about that. I never thought about that. He's ruling the aura. He's also ruling, you know, he's about this shift from the third to the fourth dimension. From there, the high level of misunderstanding, because this is exactly this shift. And it is up to our, really, it is cliche. I know we keep maybe repeating this, but it is up to our vibration on how he will manifest in your chart.
Well, it's so interesting you mentioned that, because I've heard it said that the constellation Aquarius, which Uranus in modern astrology rules, is actually not pouring out water, but pouring out waves and waves of vibration, wavelengths, and that sort of thing. So the
this is very good. I like it.
Yeah, the symbology is actual waves of energy. And that really corresponds to my mind with the nature of an air sign ruled by Uranus to be, rather than a water sign with pouring out water. So as we move into the age of Aquarius, we're going to see a lot more focus on energy waves, microwaves, waves of this, that, and the other, discovery of new waves of energy. Yeah, so I'm intrigued by your mention of that just then with the waves and Uranus's energy. So sorry, I keep interrupting.
Absolutely. No, you're not. This is very good about this. I never thought of these waves, but it makes sense indeed. Mm-hmm. Another thing is, since you say this, you know, he's entering Taurus, and yes, we forget about this label, how he is debilitated or fallen in Taurus. I really cannot take except this, but also there is one Babylonian story that he might be ruling the Hyades, which is the head in the constellation of Taurus. So I don't see how he would be debilitated. We have no proof, because just like we spoke before with you, we do not have enough experience with such slow planets like Neptune, Uranus, Pluto, so we cannot really speak from experience so much, since they're very slow.
We're learning about them, but maybe we could actually, like the ancients, I believe, like really ancient, like, you know, 10,000 years ago, I think they knew about these planets. And so there's no coincidence that they were given names of certain gods and goddesses that correspond to their energy. I think we could learn a lot by understanding the mythologies about these celestial planets. to get a grasp on what they're all about and what they're trying to teach us and how they're trying to grow us. So sorry to interrupt you. You were going to say something.
You're not, Ksenia. You're not interrupting me. Yes, absolutely. So this is the thing. And Taurus, because we speak about mundane perspective and how this will influence the world from any place on earth, this is the second house, very simple, second house of the zodiac, which is about money. And the second house of the zodiac is Taurus, which is, if we follow the Hermetic principles, the Taurus, the cow, the animal. And if people do not really vibrate as it is supposed to be, like the high Uranian vibrational energy, then the risk is very bad direction from the financial perspective for the world, very bad. Uranus can come and will not have the patience like Saturn to wait. No. He enters and he starts the change from the door. He will not accept your coffee, for example. Well, he just enters.
It is so interesting that you mentioned this, because one thing that's happened I think it's in the last week, is that Saudi Arabia is not renewing their oil contract with the United States. And that's going to change how money in the world is handled right from the get-go, from when Uranus moved here into Taurus. And so you're speaking of changes financially and monetarily on the earth, and I think about the BRICS nations as well, the Russia, the China, India and so forth, that are uniting to create a currency backed by gold instead of backed by the US dollar. So I think, Uranus being here is going to cause like a revolution in that way regarding how our finances work on the earth. And I think it's time for a revolution in that area pertaining to, how we're backing our monetary systems, and rather than dominance by one currency or maybe two currencies, we're going to see, I think, more equality, because Uranus is very much non-hierarchical and more about grassroots, more about the level playing field. And I think we'll probably find that financially that will start to unroll too. And I think we're already seeing that with the emergence of these BRICS nations. It's so interesting to me, we're talking mundane astrology and things that are happening in the world right now, that there's a BRICS games are occurring now. And in the West, here in Australia, we have heard nothing about this, zero about this games. If it was the Olympic Games, it would be all over the television and everywhere on social media, but nothing here. And interestingly, nearly every country in the world is being represented at these BRICS games in Russia right now, with the notable exceptions of Australia, New Zealand and the USA. And I think Canada's
also Europe. Also Europe.
Oh, Bulgaria has a team. I was looking just the other day, and they're competing.
I have no idea, Kesenya. See, what you're saying is this is maybe the more positive development, but let me be a little bit negative, because you
go right ahead.
No, I like so much what this gives me hope now, because I never thought about this in this direction, but I was thinking Uranus is this new technology. He would be ruling the artificial intelligence eventually. And when he enters Taurus, the money, he may fasten this transition to artificial, money. The other thing is, like I mentioned to the animal, the cow, we saw how they tried to destroy the farms of people for no reason, just because they want Hunger Games to, all this. I don't need to speak about this. People know very well what I mean. So unfortunately, they may further their attempts to destroy the farming, the agriculture, because this is Taurus is also the earth sign, and it's our food. Taurus second house is our food. So this worries me a little bit. And here comes the thing that we need really to be very careful with this Uranian energy, not to absolutely. Uranus is courage.
Yeah. We need it.
this is what worries me, because just in Australia, I read somewhere they said, oh, the chicken farms have chicken bullshit flu. Sorry.
It's total
Uh,
bullshit flu. Yes,
yes,
exactly.
yes,
You know,
and this is
last year, Krasi, the local governments in the state where I live were requiring everybody to register their chickens. Now we've never had to register home backyard
never,
chickens
of
ever
course,
before until now.
no,
And I said at the time, I said, I bet they're going to bring in some bullshit bird flu, and
yes,
then they've got a register of who owns chickens. They'll go around and destroy everyone's chickens, so we can't feed ourselves and grow our own eggs and protein that way. You know, so I was not surprised when I saw in all the social media and papers, oh, here we've got a bird flu, and oh, they're closing down this chicken farm in Sydney and blah, 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 because you could see it coming a mile off. Their playbook is so obvious. You know, anyone with half a
so
brain
obvious.
can see what they're doing. And so
No,
it behoves us to be prepared for this, you know.
prepared, no, because I don't like to accept this, Kesenia.
No,
I don't
no.
know. Prepared, yes, you say, yeah, true, but we cannot always, you know, the Uranian energy is it's also about the collective. You know, we cannot always take it, you know, because the risk is that they will deepen these attempts, these policies, you know, because the low vibration of Uranus is destruction. It is this, because Uranus, unfortunately, is listed among the malefic planets with Saturn and Mars. But also Saturn and Mars have their good sides, very good sides, you know.
And that's what
The
we
same,
want to channel, is the good energy, the positive, like the farmers did all through last year and back into 2022, protesting in Europe. I'm like cheering the farmers on in Europe for the stand that they were taking, you know, the way they were trying to destroy the agricultural industry in Europe and the ability of
exactly.
Europeans to feed
But
themselves.
this is what Taurus represents, and see what will happen with Uranus passing. Also, you know, now when he entered, he's already conjoined Algol, which is money star on one hand, and secondary, this is very controversial star, very. And you know, people maybe can read the story about the Medusa Gorgon, and so, which is turning into stone whoever would look at her. So you see, these are degrees. All degrees of Taurus are about power, money. You have nebula soon, because the nebula is from the 3rd to the 5th degrees of Taurus. Already this year we may sense this influence of Uranus into Taurus. Very controversial, very unclear, because nebula is about lacking clarity too, you know. And they can play the agenda behind our backs on the financial changes. So we have to be awake, even energetically, not to participate in this theater.
That's what it is. It's a theater, and not to engage with the negativity
No.
or the facade that they're trying to put forward. You know, it's so interesting. David, my partner, and I were talking recently about the NASA rituals that they conduct, because that's what NASA does, is they just do rituals.
Oh,
During the recent eclipse in that appeared over America. They fired up rockets with certain experiments and things into the shadow of the moon during the eclipse, right on the eclipse at that time. And if anyone cares to Google what their experiments were relating to, you'll have an idea of what their next plan for humanity and torment on humanity will be. Because so interesting, in 2017, when they had another previous American eclipse, NASA fired rockets into the shadow of the eclipse then that had to do with biological diseases and issues of like, what am I trying to say? Viruses. That's the word I'm looking for. And hello, what unfolded for humanity 3 years later? So, you know, check it out. Google what they fired, what their experiments and rituals were all about for the previous eclipse. It's very interesting. And just to save everybody the trouble, it was all about technology and the affecting technology. So we're going to see some upheavals with technology coming in the next few years. because that's what they're trying to theatrically, as you say, present to us, you know. But I refuse to accept that. I'm not engaging with anything that they're trying to pin on humanity, and I'm trying to live vibrationally.
Don't give your energy to this. It's important that we don't give energy to this. Another thing, Kesenya, being a little bit more on the negative side of this, Taurus second house is the family roots. See how they want to destroy this is Uranus entering Taurus, and his low vibration are division, destroying the classical, the traditional family roots.
Yep.
We don't, this is also another thing which we should not allow to happen. One beautiful Russian historian was saying, you don't, comply, you don't agree with these energies. People get married, have children, don't allow this, the traditional family, respect your parents, respect your grandparents, be with your family, because this is what they want to destroy. And Uranus enters the second house. See, this is all having impact on these three things: money, our food, and the family roots. So this is not only 6 months ahead, this is valid for the earth, for everyone, for Australia, for Europe, for America, doesn't matter, India, Africa. This is the second house of the zodiac of the world. This is, this is it. So,
what strikes me, Krasi, is all of that kind of thing you've been describing, this destruction of the family unit and family cohesion, and even community cohesion as well. In the tropical system, we've got Uranus moving into Gemini in the next couple of years, 2026, I believe it is. And to my mind, that is going to see some revolutions happening around schooling and how we're learning. And I'm seeing it already, actually. So many, my children who are too young to have children, or they actually could have children of their own if they wanted to now, but I'm not ready for that. But they are saying, I'm going to homeschool my kids. When I have kids, I'm homeschooling, not going to go to conventional. I don't want them going to conventional school to get brainwashed. I hear it all the time. I was at a seminar with my work the other day, and I was speaking to a couple of people there who were both saying the same thing. I'm not going to send my kids to conventional government schools because I don't want them brainwashed, and so there's going to be some real revolutions regarding education, I think.
Very possibly.
Uranus moving into Gemini in the next couple of years too, tropically. So
very possibly.
It's needed, we have given over control to our government so readily. And now we're realizing that was a mistake, unfortunately. It would be nice if we could trust our government, but we can't.
Yeah. They tricked us into this, and we allowed. It is not a God why you allowed it. It's not God. God gave us the free will. We allowed it because we agreed. They would inform us through media, films, movies, and we would just accept. This is the thing. And another thing, Ksenia, is the placement of Saturn. Sidereally, from since end of January of last year, 2023, until late December of 2025, he's into Aquarius. He's square in Uranus. So they form square, and they're not friends. Mythologically, they're not friends. So this is a little bit, they will not have the exact square, but they already have square by signs, Aquarius to Taurus. So this is making the changes which may take place to look a little bit more. This is exactly, the conflict between the old and the new. So it's mythologically, the Kronos and Uranus. Kronos is always the tradition, the conservative, if you want, energy, and Uranus is the new. So there is really conflict between the two. And
what's your interpretation of the fact that it's a closing square rather than a waxing square? Like, what I mean?
Yes, I understand what you mean. And I also would add to this that Saturn is a little bit more powerful because Saturn is in Aquarius in his own sign.
Mhm.
And Saturn is also in a place which Uranus also rules. So see, it's very complex. It's very interesting. You cannot see it as black and white,
Yeah.
just like this happening. I see the change process. We have many, like we have big opposition. Uh, it will be, yes, it will be revolutionary because of the energy of Uranus, but it will not succeed completely because Saturn stands for the traditional, for the old. Yes, in December 2025, Saturn is leaving Aquarius, then he's entering Pisces. And Uranus will still be for another 5-6 years, in Taurus. But the changes which you expect from Uranus are always from the beginning.
Mhm.
And this opposition of Saturn to slow down the process is taking place exactly during the first 2 years of the stay of Uranus into Taurus. So this I see as a good thing,
Yeah.
Ksenia.
Yep. That's right. We need a
Like
shake-up. We
Uranus
need a
will not
change in
have this.
hierarchies.
Yeah, exactly. And Uranus will not be able absolutely to come and say no immediately. We start with the new financial system, we destroy the family, we destroy your farms and food. Yes, to a degree, this may happen, but not completely. It will not go there completely.
And
This is
so
my.
we're seeing already the shake-up of the hierarchical political systems in Europe at the moment. So many leaders are stepping down or whatever, is this part of what you're seeing with Uranus in Taurus squaring Saturn in the sidereal?
Yes, I think this started already with, yes, I agree, but it started a little bit before that with when Saturn entered Capricorn, and this was end of January 2020. He was 3 years, in Capricorn, and he had to do he's doing his best in Capricorn. He's on his throne, in Capricorn. And when he was then, you already saw big political shifts of structures. I don't say that they're good. We don't see anything good, but it goes beyond that. It has to do with the cycle that we are into. We also spoke with you about this.
Can I
The
ask
cycle.
though, Uranus making a connection to Algol at the degree of Algol. I mean, Medusa had her head cut off, lost her head. And I think it was Pam Gregory on one of her recent chats was talking about political leaders losing their heads at this time, like losing their role, losing their leadership, losing their governance because of the influence of Algol. I love how the mythology ties into astrology so often. And I was very impressed with her analysis of that. What would you say about that? Do you think that's accurate?
Uranus is passing through Algol, and yes, it has to do with the decapitated, Medusa. Could be, could be. We will see.
Yeah.
Could be.
Because we're coming up to like election season in the United States, I think, towards the end of the year, if I'm not mistaken. I should know
Yes,
more about what's going on in America than I do.
yeah, me too. I'm trying to follow, but it's so many. There are so many things. Yes, for America, yeah, because they have Taurus on a key position. They are born with the heliacal rise of Aldebaran. For them,
Yeah.
Taurus is like everything.
Yeah.
So we indeed may see shift in the political system. They're like a totally new system, unexpectedly different, like something that we wouldn't even think of. I would love that we one day soon analyze this, but we have to see which are the candidates so that we can really see. But this would be a major shift. You're very right, because Uranus is himself the change, and he's entering Taurus, which is the most important sign for America. They are born on the 4th of July when
Yes.
Aldebaran is born. They're not
Yes.
stupid. They were not stupid.
They used astrology, didn't they, when they cast their chart? Well,
Be sure
it's so
they were not
interesting.
stupid. No.
Well, it's so funny because I was looking at the chart of Russia just this week, and I initially, because I've never really looked at it before, and I looked at it and thought, oh, this is a terrible chart. I wish they'd actually used astrology when they cast this chart of Russia. And I looked closer at it, spent some time analyzing and thinking about it. And the more I looked at it, the more I realized, actually, this is not a bad chart at all. It's actually pretty good. I think they definitely did use astrology for that, for their chart. And of course, I was looking with tropical system rather than.
They always do, Kesenya. They always do. Look at, they always do. But America is the best example. Israel, my God, absolutely. Also, you know.
Yeah. Australia has Aries rising in the tropical system at 29 degrees, which I think is a very interesting choice of rising degree to have. I'm not sure quite what to make of.
This would put Taurus rising. This would put Money Star on the ascendant, actually. Well, they always use astrology. They always use astrology. This, be sure about that.
That's right. It's so interesting to me. You know, we recently in Australia had the digital ID passed, and nobody I know is happy about that. But of course, our leadership doesn't care less whether we want it or not. That's Australia, actually, it's so interesting, Krasi, has the sun conjunct with Saturn on the midheaven. And, you know, people see Australia as sort of fun-loving, easygoing kind of, you know, energy because we've got a lot of planets in Sagittarius. But the truth is, and if anyone who comes to live here will find out, we're very authoritarian. And rules and regulations and governmental this, that, and the other for everything. It's a pain in the neck. And that's the Saturn sun on the midheaven. Well, recently transiting our midheaven was Pluto. And at that time, what's Pluto? Totalitarianism. It was when Pluto transited the midheaven that they passed this digital ID bill. And I thought, well, there you go. You know, look at the astrology. It's control, Pluto, total control that they're planning for the masses in Australia. But then we had the Uranus conjunction with Jupiter right on our moon in the Australian chart, which represents the people of Australia. And I'm not sure that that has fully manifested yet, Uranus Jupiter conjunction, because Jupiter often, and you can correct me if you see this differently, but Jupiter often represents the future, sowing seeds in the present to fulfill in the future, because he rules Sagittarius with the archer pointing his arrow into the future.
Good perspective, yes, good perspective.
So the seeds, I think, of this Uranus-Jupiter conjunction on the moon, the people of Australia, I think is still at play. I think the people, I'm getting a sense in Australia that people are fed up to here with a lot of what's going on. Now, in the tropical system, our moon is in Taurus, so it takes a lot to change and bring about change in the people of Australia to get them out of their comfort zone, because we're all very comfortable, thank you very much. But I think seeds have been sown over the last month or two since the conjunction of Jupiter-Uranus on our moon that is going to ultimately result in people saying, enough, we've had it with this totalitarian approach to, you know, how things are done in Australia. Just getting that a real vibe of that at the moment, which speaks to Uranus conjunct Jupiter energy. So it'd be interesting to see what unfolds as the next 6 months comes in Australia, whether that actually is the case.
Sounds lofty, sounds good.
I'm always looking for the hope, always looking for the hope.
No, I see that. And this is the most appropriate approach, because you cannot look only at the negative. We need to register it, but not really concentrate on the negative. Register and then just go your way and don't play into this theater. But you're right. Uranus conjunct Jupiter is... Yeah, this would be courageous. People would dare, most probably, because you in Australia suffered the most from the pandemic, actually.
I love how you call it the pandemic. I just want to hug you and hear you say that.
But you know, I was terrified for what they did in Australia and Canada. They really went too far. So I hope that this Jupiter-Uranus conjunction will really be the turning point for the people's patience.
Yes, yes. I
Because
think,
again, we allow it. We allow it. That's the point.
yeah, that's so true. That is so true. It's, you know, our own
Until
free
very
will.
recently, I was thinking, why the creator allows? No, we allow because we are given. We are informed every time they inform us, and we do nothing.
Yeah. Yep. That's it. That's it. We sit on our backsides and don't do anything. So I'm hoping that changes here in Australia.
On the pandemic, we were also informed, Ksenia. They played just 2 years before that. They played the, I think it was in the UK, the Olympics, and they made the theater, and they informed us in so many different ways. There were movies. We saw also Mars rising in Aries, in Virgo. I'm sorry, just before it was November of 2019 when Mars became visible for the first time in Virgo. Obviously, health problem was coming ahead. So we are the ones which allow everything.
Yeah.
That's why we have to be very careful.
Yeah, and can I just say to our audience watching this, if you see this theatre and ritual being displayed in your face through movies, songs, television, Olympic ceremonies, NASA rituals, and whatever, say, I do not accept. I do not consent.
Absolutely.
I do not consent.
Yes.
You know, make your energy known to the universe that you do not accept this ritual. You do not accept what they are putting out there, and it's not going to be part of your paradigm. And the more people that do that, that are awake to these sorts of things, the less power they have with this kind of bullshit.
Yeah, it's about stealing the energy. Exactly. You announce, you say, no, I don't accept. Absolutely. This is very, very, very appropriate.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ksenia. So I don't know if we really
I want to ask you a question. Sorry, what was that?
I don't know if we were really into the topic. So
No, we'll go
more or less. Yeah, more or less.
I love it. But I want to ask you a question, because one of the key transits I think that's occurring in the next 6 months is a Jupiter square, Saturn Jupiter square, and I'm curious to know what you think that might bring about in personal lives or in the world at large.
Yeah. Yes, in both astrologies, doesn't matter, sidereal, tropical, when Jupiter and Saturn are in good aspect, in good relationship, they always give growth, financial success, property. People always, with this aspect, you will see them owning beautiful property, for example, Jupiter, Saturn trine, with a sextile too, but a little bit less. And now when they're in squaring each other, Saturn being more powerful, Saturn squares from Aquarius, Jupiter is in Taurus, Saturn is in Aquarius sidereally. This to me is again financially not a little bit limiting. This is not giving the businesses to grow worldwide in the people's horoscopes. This is not really also property in the real estate businesses. There will also be not fine development, and you see it already. When Saturn entered sidereal Capricorn, you would see how people would be building, buying properties like crazy all over the world. The properties went up. I was hoping when Saturn enters Aquarius, this process to change. They would shift their interest more into, let's say, collective type of property, nature, being more in a nature, buying villas, nature type of
eco villages, things like that.
Eco villages, collective villages, exactly. Which maybe happened because I see it around me, how people really move from the big cities to the villages. Have interest in own small farms, and so yes, this is also happening, but I see limits in the growth of this with the Jupiter Saturn square. Like this is happening, and even there is belief in the ancient astrology that from Jupiter even the square is good.
Right.
So it is okay, but it will not have the full potentials to open and to grow.
So we may have these ideals for what we want, but it's not going to quite get to what we anticipate. Like we still can
This
see
is
things
how
happen, but
I
it's
see
just not as
this.
big as we
What is your
want.
opinion on this square?
Yeah, I find Jupiter Saturn, because they're so polaric, the two of them, I find them a very interesting energy to observe. I see Saturn limiting Jupiter, and
Exactly.
Jupiter, yeah, our Jupiterian side being frustrated by these limitations that are put on us. That's how I see it playing out. It doesn't mean that
Yeah.
we can't do things or that things can't manifest, but it's done with more hard work and more obstacles and more frustrating energy. So yeah, things are not going to be flourishing the way they do with
And
a
this is
Jupiter
1
Saturn
year to
sign.
go, 1 full year to go, and even longer, because we have to speak about some future for the world. Just to mention, what we also spoke with you before this conversation, when Saturn is squaring Taurus, and also, of course, Scorpio, this is axis of power and money. Every penny we earn, we make, will be with effort.
Yeah.
This is the thing, this is the thing, because of course, when somebody has very, very powerful chart, this person will be a little bit less afflicted, but it will have impact on every person on earth, because Saturn squaring all these money stars, obviously this is financial affliction.
And do you think that maybe the square from Saturn to Taurus in the sidereal might sort of try and bring in hierarchical structures to our agricultural industries, perhaps, and how we are dealing with food? Like, I think about what Bill Gates is trying to do, and how he's trying to bring in all his fake meat and whatever else he's up to, the chemical induced rubbish.
Let's hope this decapitated Medusa will represent him when the heads will be falling. We
Yeah,
put this in the space.
Yeah.
Let's hope this decapitation of some visible important figure will be related to him.
That's right. He can eat insects and the rest of us will eat nice,
Yes.
healthy food.
Yes, let all
food.
insects go to him. Yeah.
That's right. That is right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well,
No.
what you say makes sense, of course. Of course, Kesenya. This is a good interpretation too, very possibly.
Yeah, control of, agricultural industries. I mean, I think Uranus might bring more technological influence to our agricultural industries, and I'm not always sure that that's a good thing, like
It's both.
Yeah.
Rudolf Steiner said, I remember I read this, he said that there would be also these inventions which will be good in the agriculture, the technology which will not necessarily be bad. Yes, most of the technology is bad, and maybe this is what destroyed the Atlanteans, or we're heading there, but there will be this part of technology which will be beneficial for the people. This is what Rudolf Steiner said.
Right.
This changed my mind a little bit. In general, I'm very much against artificial intelligence technology, but there would be this small part which would be useful for us. So
yeah. Well, I hope you're right. I mean, like we've been saying, there, I know that Uranus is considered, like you said, one of the malefics. But there is a higher vibration to Uranus that is good, and that brings progress and advancement. And he is like the knowledge of astrology, and that's not bad. It's only bad when you use it for bad things, like black magic, kind of using it in that manner. Yeah, he is the higher vibration if we choose to use it for good. So like you're saying, with these inventions and what have you that will impact agriculture, it's how we use it and how we are we using it for a high vibrational purpose, or are we using it to destroy? But can it possibly be that he would be destructive when Gaia, Mother Earth, is his wife, surely he's going to act in her best interests. Uranus, that is, I mean.
Hopefully, because he has no attachments, Kesenya.
Yeah, that's
He's castrated. He's not very romantic. I haven't seen him bring in love. He brings what people would call love, and then it will not develop as love in the long term. You know what I mean? He can start relationship. He can. But I don't know if this really would develop into, you know what I mean? That's why I'm not sure if he would be very loyal to.
Yeah.
He has different understanding of this, and everything is perfect in a universal and cosmic sense. Everything is perfect, actually.
Yeah. Yeah. We have to believe that, don't we? Have to have faith in that, don't we?
Exactly. So this is the thing. It is us who have to obey, the cosmic, universal laws and be respectful to Earth. This way, this energy of Uranus will be in our benefit. This is so. I hope he cannot be destructive, but also, the planet is having storms and winds and very cold, one of the coldest. So his energy is also very, very special.
Yeah.
We will see, but we cannot expect from him to bring affection and love. He will bring change. How we channel this change is really up to us. This is the free will. We are given
do you see
from the
him
Creator
as the planet of liberation, like setting people free to be authentic?
I agree. It's the revolution. I agree with you. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So hopefully we are liberated with our food systems and liberated with our, rural areas and that sort of thing, and authentic, which is also Uranian. Can I ask a question about a couple of other energies that are at play? We've got the nodes in certain signs. Now, in the tropical, they're currently North Node in Aries, South Node in Libra. They're not in that, are they, in the Sidereal? They're in Pisces and
October. Yeah, in October last year they entered Pisces, Virgo.
So what do you see that the nodes are doing in the next few months? Like, not counting the eclipses, that's a whole different other topic, but their influence, the South Node and the North Node.
See, Ketu still, in Virgo, the sixth sign of the zodiac about health. See, the topic of health is still there, with Ketu in the sixth. On the other hand, Rahu is so driven to the spirituality, to awakening, in being in Pisces. This axis is being influenced by Rahu Ketu. Rahu is also the 12th house, of the zodiac, which is refugees, which is so this in general, this particular axis is the axis of bad karma. So this is a portal, but it's in a good sense, it is clearing the karma also, we're given certain lesson in order to clear our karma, both 6th, 12th houses are hard on health, on refugees, on natural disasters, on water disasters, on Neptune is also about earthquakes, and all these natural disasters in the 12th house, Pisces. Another story is about Neptune, he also has very beautiful energy. He has the higher vibration of Venus, if you want, and he is in Pisces. What we forgot, to mention is that Uranus is the higher octave, the higher vibration of Mercury. So it has to do with the thought processes. We are shaping, forming everything with our thoughts. That's why Uranus influences very much the thoughts of people. Neptune would influence your emotions, for example.
I was going to ask you about Neptune, because in the tropical system, Neptune's at the 29th degree of Pisces, which is the sign that it rules in modern astrology. And 29 degrees is a pretty potent degree to have Neptune at. And, I was not surprised to see that bird flu issue come up in Australia when Neptune hit the 29th degree. Neptune has association with viruses and things like that. So what would you, I know you're a sidereal astrologer, but what would your interpretation of Neptune at the 29th degree be for this period in history? What would you see that
These
as?
are, yeah, interesting that you say this, because Neptune, the 29th, would correspond to 4th, 5th degree sidereal Pisces. And this is the point of the vernal equinox. For you, for Australia, this will be the autumn equinox. Still, both are very, very potent, like you exactly said, tropical points. Strong, like everything what is happening there is strong. Neptune in Pisces for the next 14 years sidereally, and for another 1 to 3 years in tropically. Still, this is the spiritual wave of awakening, beautiful, beautiful awakening. But also, again, this is the controversial energy of Neptune. Low vibrations are the illusion, the wine. I don't say against wine, but I said he's causing the god Dionysus, who eventually have rulership over Neptune. He gives this. There was one word, 1 second, he was directly related to the ecstasy as emotion. This is Neptune,
It
so
does rule ecstasy. Yeah, that makes sense.
yeah, ecstasy, this is what also is, this emotion feeling is ruled by Neptune. So he goes to the two extremes: high vibration, beautiful art, spirituality, the true one, connection with the creator, with yourself. This is Neptune. He's the divine love. Venus is the love on our material plane. So he can be very, very, very beautiful and very, very, very misunderstood, illusionary. And this is how it goes. And in this degree, this is stronger.
Right.
Either people fall even more into the illusion of the fake matrix, or they really outgrow the matrix with Neptune in that way.
So the awakening, I'm so fascinated that, because since Neptune has moved into tropical Pisces, or almost at the end of the 14-year period, I mean, I just see people waking up left, right, and center, particularly in the last 5 to 6 years. And of course, when a planet is at the final 6 degrees of a sign, it gets busy, like it's got to accomplish its mission in that sign.
Very
Yeah, and just the people that are waking up to the truth. And I just had not realized this before, Krasi, and it's in talking with you now that it's all starting to cha-ching make sense, because we've had the wool pulled over our eyes and been deceived so much throughout the whole age of Pisces, not just while Neptune's been there, but the whole age of Pisces. And I see people waking up to that delusion and that dream that we've been in as a collective for 2,000 years, and saying, well, hang on, this is not right, and I'm not accepting this anymore. So this awakening process is very beautiful and very
two extremes.
powerful.
This is also the division which these trans-Saturn planets mean, because this is really division. They go the two direction extremely to the two extremes, really very, very much. And you see it. This division, unfortunately, is very, very visible.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
I saw an interview with a gentleman on a social media platform this week who was saying, I looked around me at these lockdowns that we were subjected to here in Australia during the pandemic. I looked around and I didn't go down that road, he said, but I looked at what was happening to my friends and my family, and I took to drinking because I couldn't cope with what I was seeing happen to the people that I loved and cared about. And he said, I'm struggling with alcohol now. And I'm like, that's a manifestation of what we're talking about. People who they've woken up, but they can't cope with what they're seeing and what the revelation has brought them. And so they're escaping into maybe drink, maybe something else. Yeah.
One friend astrologer was telling me, oh, Neptune in Pisces, see how many people got crazy. Crazy people. Yeah, it's not funny, but I found it a bit funny. She said, see how many people. Yeah, because Neptune in Pisces, also this is Neptune in Pisces, know.
Yeah.
So again, these energies of the trans-Saturn planets are very special, need more understanding, more research. and we don't have the lifetime to do this research because they're very slow. Uranus 7 years, Neptune 14, Pluto 21. So
Yep, yep. Very, very interesting, isn't it? Yeah. So what do you I've kind of asked you quite a few questions here about what's coming up in the next 6 months, but I'm going to just let you have your say. What do you feel is the general theme for humanity over the next 6 months? What do we need to be aware of? What do we need to like you've said, we need to get into nature and connect more with nature to keep ourselves grounded and balanced. Is there anything else, Krasi, you want to add to that?
I'll add something maybe in totally different direction. Not yet off topic, Kesenya, but still, when I was looking astrologically at all this, and this worries me, steals my sleep if you want, and then I started, researching the prophecies. Prophecy after prophecy, Kesenya, and it all went into the same direction. I really lost my sleep. So you know what? Finally, I understood. All these prophecies announced so generously to us, and yes, we do see some difficult future events coming indeed, but this is depriving us from the free will. When you watch all these prophecies, which are usually most of them negative, and this is not the point. Actually, we have the free will. It is not necessarily happen as in the Revelation, which of course all of you researched for sure, or in the other prophecies so negatively. I think it is just different. And the more we fall into this, bad will happen. The prophecies are all negative and they will come. The more we are creating this energy, because we are creators. We create with mind, with we already program our subconscious that this will happen.
Yes.
Yes. So I think, yes, we said this more to, if you want to prepare people, but we have the free will. Most of this we can influence by not playing into this theater, by not programming our subconscious mind into bad future changes. We have to pray.
Yeah.
Yes, for the good, because and we should not be afraid, because then we program difficult events ahead. We have to also, the positive thinking is another scam. Also not that, but just not to be afraid, not to program ourselves for all these negative prophecies. So even what we just told you is a possibility, but with that, if we vibrate high in the Uranian high energy, in the Neptunian, even the Pluto high energy, the high octave of Mars is great justice. He hates lie. He is about the great how you say it, courage. Like he's the greatest warrior, the general, if you want, the admiral. So if we really grab the high octave of all these energies, which otherwise can be very malefic, none of this will happen.
Yeah, I love the higher vibration of Pluto. It is such a powerful energy. And
yes, very.
Yeah, for those out there who are going through their Pluto square, if you've had an astrology reading, perhaps with Krasi and I, you'll know what I'm talking about. But it comes to all of us at some point in life. It's like the dark night of the soul. But out of that Pluto square transit, you emerge empowered and able to face the darkest difficulties, because you've been there, you've been through the underworld, and you hopefully, Pluto is the ancient god of great wealth. In your underworld experience, you hopefully have grasped the gold, the treasure that is at the heart of that experience, which will give us great power to embrace. I love high octave Pluto energy, and once you've been there through the darkness can't touch you anymore.
Very true. But Kesenya, when you have knowledge, why should you go through Pluto, dark night of the soul, to learn how to deal with the darkness? I mean, you can already learn by observing your chart, knowledge of your chart, seeing the potential difficulties and events, and then you just know, and you will have the power to overgrow maybe, your chart and the future events with knowledge. That's why knowledge is so precious, and it's not given just like that. Knowledge, information, you have to work for that, because once you know, you're free.
That's so true. Yes, that's so true. I love that, Krasi. Once you know, you are indeed free. Yeah, and they can't govern you anymore the way they think they can.
No.
Very powerful, very powerful. I love it.
I believe so. Yeah, Ksenia.
Yeah. Well, Krasi, this has been such a joy to do this video.
Thank you.
To
Same
talk.
for me, Ksenia. Thank you so much.
It's just so uplifting to talk openly and honestly about what we see unfolding in the world, how we feel that the planets are going to impact things. You watching out there in the YouTube land, you may disagree with some of the perspectives Krasi and I have. You're allowed to disagree. That's fine. But I do encourage you, keep your comments polite. I do take note of what the comments are, and if anyone's rude, they will be ejected out of my comment section.
Yes.
Like you're allowed to have your opinion, but you must be. I'm a Libra moon. You've got to be. So are you, Krasi. So
Yes,
you've got to be polite, or you're out of here.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's the old tradition. Yes,
that's it.
That's it.
So,
this pleasure.
I've just loved this, Krasi, and I would love, we've been doing a few videos over the last few months, and I'd love to keep doing this. So if people have questions for maybe a topic you'd like Krasi and I to look at and talk about, then you can put those in the comments section as well, and we might arrange for some videos in the future where we address people's particular concerns or worries or questions, and discuss them from sidereal and tropical points of view, perhaps. So
thank you, everyone.
If you would like a reading with Krasi, or if you would like her to create you a talisman, she's making Neptune talismans at the moment. Very exciting, because Neptune's powerful in the chart. Then do head to
Thank you, Ksenia. Yes.
Head to Krasi's website. The details will be in the description box below. But thank you for joining us.
The other way around. Thank you, Ksenia.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Yes.
And so thank you, one and all, and we will catch you again next time Krasi and I get together. Bye.